Sunday show, we usually start off with a conversation, quite light and, you know, nice conversation.
Mug in hand.
Yeah,
you know
so
what I mean?
we're going to talk about demonetization. We've been demonetized a lot.
I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah. Last few videos we upload, we release, and they demonetize us. We're being hit now. Finally, it's quite bad.
It's shit.
Really?
Here's how I feel about it. I respect that they have to do something about it because, you know, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of pressure on YouTube to do this kind of thing by the people who pay for the adverts, right? They're the people who are bankrolling this whole thing. Fine, I get that they need some rules. Why let us put a video out, then claim it, stop it from making any money, and then go, actually, you know what, that video was fine. Sorry to bother you guys. Without even saying sorry. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's the worst way to handle it, surely.
The problem is, we release a video, they demonetize it for the first few hours when we're making the most amount of money from the video. Then after that period's gone, oh, sorry, everything's fine. But we've lost like 50 to 70% of the revenue we would have made off that video. But anyway, let's just hope they fix their shit, because other YouTubers complain about it. And you know, then we just like, it's us now, it's our turn, so I guess we shouldn't complain.
We just did a bit of complaining though.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about other people's problems.
In the news this week, Guerrilla Games brought Horizon Zero Dawn to PS4 earlier this year, with its Frozen Wilds expansion releasing just this month. Horizon received critical acclaim and is currently up for a number of awards at the Game Awards, including Game of the Year. Speaking to GamesIndustry.biz this week, Horizon's art director Jan Bart van Beek, who has an awesome name, spoke out about how Guerrilla Games have gone from designing roller coaster rides to theme parks. The roller coaster, of course, refers to their previous franchise Killzone, which Van Beek said they wanted to move away from before Killzone 3 launched in 2011. Fallout 3 and Skyrim apparently played a part in the inspiration of Horizon, as the team wanted to move away from the linear experience that Killzone offered, the roller coaster, and allow the player more freedom like you get in Horizon Zero Dawn, the theme park. They were careful not to draw too much from existing games when conjuring up Horizon's art and visual style. Van Beek argued that it's no longer enough for a game to look good, they also need to look unique, and that's exactly what they tried to capture with Horizon. Van Beek even went as far as to avoid trailers for upcoming games throughout the development of the game. He is right, it is very visually kind of striking, and this robot dinosaur, I mean, it's robot dinosaurs, of course it's going to be unique. You just come up with one idea like that and it's going to look different to everything else, isn't it? But they did a great job. Obviously it's been considered for Game of the Year and everything, and I think he's right, that's kind of what they've done. They've gone from a linear kind of roller coaster that was Killzone, it's a fun roller coaster, and now they've got a theme park which is Horizon Zero Dawn, and you just choose which roller coaster you want to go on. A lot of games kind of doing that now though, aren't they? So open worlds all over the place, but they've obviously done a very good job with this.
Popular online games like Overwatch, Dota 2 and Counter-Strike have had some problems in the past few years with toxic players and cheaters, making the experience quite unpleasant. But Valve may have found a solution to Counter-Strike's problems with their new matchmaking system, which they call the Trust System. The Trust System assigns player a trust factor, which is created using data gathered from a player's Steam profile, such as amount of time played, ban history, and how many times they have been reported. The system is designed to match players with other players who have a similar trust factor, which is hypothetically meant to result in a more enjoyable multiplayer matches. According to Valve, the system has so far shown positive results, with players using the Trust System reporting fewer instances of bad behavior and cheaters in multiplayer. In a Q&A about the new matchmaking system, Valve said, quote, "We're still iterating on the trust factor model and adjusting the way various factors are combined, but we want to make sure that all you have to do to improve your matchmaking experience is continue to play CSGO and Steam games legitimately. Just be a good boy. The more you play, the more information the system has, and the easier it will be for the system to determine who you should be matched with." The interesting thing about this one is that they're using information outside of the game to determine your matchmaking or your trust factor, as we call it, as it's called. We don't have to even name it anything funny, because it's already called something very funny. Your trust factor. So how much time you've spent with the game? Have you been reported in the past? Have you been caught cheating in the past? In any other game? I'm surprised they're not counting like how many people you've slapped in the street or people that you've insulted or anything like that added it to your trust factor, because that's what it seems like. It seems like a bit, it's like, are they watching this now, Mike? Are they watching how many times you go to the toilet every day and stuff like that, and factoring in to our trust factor, I'm a bit scared by this, I must admit.
Yeah, it's all a bit Charlie Brooker for me, all a bit Black Mirror, like just having a rating of how trustworthy you are and, you know, actually affecting your experience with the game accordingly. I don't really like this, to be honest, but I don't like arseholes either, and arseholes should just play games with other arseholes. You know, I'm a bit torn between two things here. I don't like being spied on and being decided how trustworthy of a person I am. On the other hand, I do not like arseholes, so it's a difficult one for me, but yeah, overall, this is weird. In other news this week, Microsoft has partnered up with a jewellery company, Hurlsberg Diamonds, for one of the strangest video game promotions we've seen in a while. For anyone who spends a minimum of $1,000 at Hurlsberg's physical or online stores, they'll receive a free Xbox One S starter bundle as a reward. The bundle includes a 500 gig Xbox and a 3-month membership for Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass. The promotion starts on the 22nd of November and runs through to Christmas Eve, but wait, there's more. From now until the 17th of December, Hurlsberg shoppers can enter for a chance to win one of 100 Xbox One X systems in store or through a sweepstakes page. Yeah, I don't know why we included this in the news roundup, but we just thought it was a bit weird. I mean, you're buying jewellery, you get an Xbox. That's the story. It's weird.
Xbox One S, not the Xbox One X.
Not even the good one.
Not even the good one.
You could win the good one though.
You can win the good one, but do they expect people to get confused by the S and the X now? Is this?
Yeah, well, this is the problem. See, Microsoft have backed themselves into a corner with their stupid names because it just doesn't. It's very confusing at the moment.
I must admit, SX does confuse the
But also, Xbox One X, you could shorten to Xbox, except that's what the whole brand is called, and that's what the original unit is called. I mean, just calling it Xbox One to start with was a mistake, I thought. It's just their name. Whoever's coming up with their names, just get rid of them. Get someone else in.
I made a joke about sex then, you missed it completely. I must admit, SX does confuse the
Sorry. It's more interesting what I was saying. I mean, that's bad, isn't it?
A few weeks ago, US retailer GameStop launched a new subscription service called PowerPass, which lets shoppers borrow any game from GameStop's pre-owned section. But just a few weeks after it became available, GameStop have decided to pause the program due to program limitations. A spokesperson for GameStop said, quote, "We have elected to temporarily pause the rollout of the new PowerPass subscription service based on a few program limitations we have identified. If you purchase the PowerPass during the program's soft launch, you'll be compensated. We will allow guests to bring the pass and video game they have checked out back to receive a full refund. In addition, we will allow them to pick out any pre-owned game for free." So what went wrong with the program? Well, according to Kotaku, GameStop employees told them that the store computers could not handle the pressure of managing the new database because all the systems are at least 10 years out of date. So GameStop will either have to update their PCs in every store nationwide or rework the program to work with their existing systems. Problem with the database being they have to actually put customers in the database, and they're just not used to having customers.
Also this week, Dota 2 is one of the most popular games ever on Steam, and it regularly appears in Steam's most played games every day with an average of 500,000 daily players. But recently, Dota 2's player base has been on the decline, and there are around 50% less games being played daily on the European servers and 40% less on the US ones. According to an article by Esports Sales, Dota 2 has been on a bit of a downward swing lately for what they believe are 4 key factors. First is the fact that Dota 2 is pretty unfriendly towards new players, and the game lacks a proper tutorial to teach newcomers all the game's mechanics. Because there's no tutorial, newcomers are forced into games with players who already may be experts, which scares away the new players because veteran players end up chastising them for their lack of skill. The second reason is matches in Dota 2 are just too long, with the average game lasting around 40 minutes, which not everyone has the time for. The third reason that Esports Sales points to is the game is just too stressful right now because players feel like they have to play to the best of their ability at all times so they don't fall in the game's rankings. And the fourth and final reason that Esports Sales suggests is that the player base is declining, maybe because players are just bored of the game and they've decided to take time off. Top analysis there, especially that last point. Tutorial thing I can see being off-putting, and I think there is an air of kind of intimidation around the game if you're just coming into it. There's a lot of the in-game chat and everything, and a lot of players who've been playing it like religiously for years. They're really good at it, and the new players coming in haven't got a clue what they're doing. They're not prepared enough by the game to handle themselves, at least in basic functions, and so they end up getting hammered, and then what happens is the player base can't grow and the people who fall off aren't replaced by newcomers.
The problem for me when I tried it was that, there's just so many characters, so much to choose from. I mean, where do I start? I literally didn't want to start, so I didn't. And last up in the news, UK video game retailer Game have filed their latest earnings report this week, and they have posted a net loss of £10 million. Game blamed the loss on a challenging market, a lack of high-hitting releases, and disappointing sales of key titles like Call of Duty. But Game say they still retain the largest share of the UK video game market, claiming a 29% share of the market.
Yeah, well, of course they do. They're the only ones. They're the only UK nationwide game retailer. The other people that have some of that market share are like Amazon and Tesco. That's nothing to boast about. Why don't you have a bigger share? 29% isn't that much considering you're the only people doing it.
The retailer has also reported significant growth in the Belong initiative, which saw 18 game stores renovated to include areas for esports and local multiplayer events. Game said Belong and multiplayer sales grew by 116.4% to £13.2 million in the second quarter, and they will continue to expand their efforts in this area. CEO Martin Gibbs said, quote, "We expect recent positive market dynamics to continue into our peak Christmas trading period, driven by strong growth in all elements of the PlayStation 4 category, continued customer demand for the Nintendo Switch, the launch of Microsoft's Xbox One X, and continued strong demand for related software."
That guy's got a pair of lungs if he said all that in one sentence. I mean, this is no surprise to me. They've been on the ropes for a while, haven't they, for Game. They almost went under a few years ago, and then they were kind of saved at the last minute and all this kind of stuff. And they had the Game rewards card, and that was like put on ice and things like that, so customers' points were frozen. They couldn't use their points for a little while and things like that. They've been having a lot of troubles, and it's no surprise that they've been losing money. I do like the fact that they exist, though, just from a purely selfish reason of I like at least one shop on the high street that might tempt me in for a look.
I think the good thing for Game is the fact that, you know, they're reinvigorated, I guess, by Nintendo Switch. Like, you know, Nintendo Switch and like the physical releases of the Switch, everyone wants a cartridge, everyone wants to go and get a physical game on the Switch because it's cartridges. You know, it works well for Game, and hopefully that is seeing some sort of, you know, the latter part of this year, they're seeing some boost because of that Xbox One X. There's good things happening. Apparently last year they posted just over $1 million in profit. $10 million knockback this year, though. It's kind of not looking good. Let's hope they can pull it together.
So there were a few interesting stories in the news there this week. What caught your eye? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this every day. You can check out that video right there, right now if you want, and the link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.